2023 Cricket World Cup kicks off this evening with the opener between England and New Zealand. General Manager of Sri Lanka Railways instructs all railway deputy controllers to immediately report to their respective duty stations. 48,000 burden due to heavy showers. Economic situation will improve next year. Think deeply on whether to leave the country, says President. Floods in Sikkim, India. 102 people missing. The first match of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023 featuring 10 teams will begin shortly at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad, India. World champions England and New Zealand will be competing in the opening match. This year's Cricket World Cup tournament is being hosted by India with 10 teams participating. This is the first World Cup without West Indies, who failed to qualify. England, Australia, Sri Lanka, India, South Africa, Pakistan, Bangladesh, New Zealand, Afghanistan and Netherlands are playing in the tournament. Matches will be held at 10 stadiums including Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, Dharamsala and Hyderabad. England and New Zealand, who are competing today, have played 95 one-day internationals so far, and both teams have won 44 matches each. 3 matches ended in a tie. The other 4 matches ended without a decision. Today's match will commence at 2 p.m. Sri Lanka time. Cricket fans can catch all the action of the ICC Cricket World Cup via the NBC MTV networks, the official local broadcast rights holder of the World Cup. The matches will also be broadcast on YFM and streamed live on www.sirasatv.lk. Moving on to local news, the General Manager of Railways has instructed all railway deputy controllers to immediately report to their respective duty stations. Officers who are unable to report to the designated duty station have been informed to report to the nearest station. The General Manager also said that disciplinary action will be taken against the officials who do not do so. Meanwhile, the General Secretary of the Ceylon Railway Controllers Association, K.D. Prasad, said this morning that the sudden strike started by a group of railway sub-regulators is still going on today. Due to the railway sub-controllers suddenly starting this strike, passengers are suffering due to many trains being cancelled. Deputy General Manager of Railway Traffic, Enjayindi Polage, said a discussion was held this morning with the participation of State Minister for Transport and Deputy Controllers of Railways. News First correspondent said that the union members who are on strike were also present for the discussion.
We have not taken trade union action. We were mentally affected by the incident, so we took sick leave. A
large number of people who came to the Matagoda railway station this morning were inconvenienced by the cancellation of several journeys.
Eight trains that were scheduled to run from Kalutara South Station to Maradana on the coastal railway line were cancelled today. Many passengers were inconvenienced due to this. Police forces were deployed to the railway station. The Galu Kumari, which starts its journey from Beliata, and a few other trains began its journey from the Gaur railway station today. The Ruhunu Kumari train did not operate today. This is the situation at the Dehiwala railway station today. News First correspondents from Kurunegala said that even with the train strike taking place, normal proceedings took place in the morning today. There was a noticeable reduction in the number of passengers at the Kurunegala railway station today.
The number of people affected due to floods has gone up to 48,821. According to the latest report released by the Disaster Management Centre, 12 districts have been affected. Here's an update on the latest situation in the country. Most people affected are in the western province, with 38,208 affected. Of these, 930 people have been moved to 10 safe places. With the prevailing showers, 3 houses have been destroyed and 686 have been damaged. The irrigation department said the Attanagalu Oya, Gin, Ganga, Kaluganga and Nilwala rivers are still at flood level. Director of Hydrology and Disaster Management at the Department of Irrigation, Engineer S.P.C. Sugeshwara said that if more showers are experienced, it may develop into a high-risk flood situation. The water level of the Nilwala River has already risen, with the water gauge showing a value of 6.85 meters. The Talgahagoda water gauge has also increased to 2.6 meters. As a result, the Akurassa Simbalagoda Road, Kamurupitiya Road, Kadduwa Road, Vellathota Road and Akurassa Matara Main Road were inundated. Houses along Kumardas Mawata in Hittatiya Tudava were also inundated. Moving on to more local news, the National Dengue Control Unit said with the activation of the northeast monsoon, the dengue risk may worsen in the northern and eastern provinces. Director of the National Dengue Control Unit, Dr. Nalinari Ratna said an increase in the population of dengue mosquitoes was reported in these areas, with the rainfall experienced during this period in the past few years and a risk of the number of patients increasing was observed. The National Dengue Control Unit advised people to take measures to identify and remove mosquito breeding grounds in their surroundings.
Rainfall is expected in the northern and eastern provinces with the activation of northeastern monsoon. In the past years, with the rainfall during these months, we observed an increase in the dengue mosquito population. We also observed a risk of dengue patients increasing, especially in the northeastern provinces. We should prevent such a situation. We need to carry out dengue prevention programs ahead. We request the people of the northeastern provinces to join health authorities for the dengue eradication programs and support them.
More than 64,500 dengue cases have been reported across the island. A majority of them were reported from the western province.
Nearly 64,500 dengue patients have been reported from across the island. A majority of them are reported from the western province. A considerable number of patients were also reported from the Kurunegala, Puttalam, Kegol, Kandy and Ratnapura districts.
In other local news, President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that a stable economic condition is likely to be created in the country next year, and therefore people should think deeply before making a decision whether to leave the country. The President made these remarks while attending the annual convocation of General Sir John Kothalavala Defence University.
The General Sir John Kothalavala Defence University's annual convocation was held yesterday at the Bandaranaike Memorial International Conference Hall in Colombo. The President attended as the chief guest. 246 students graduated at this event.
So many are wondering, are we to stay or are we to go? In this background, as I said, I can't blame anyone for thinking we want to go. But all of you want a good future. First in your country, and if you can't find in your country, in another country. And the fact that you are thinking of going is also an admission that we who are responsible for you had failed in the last few years. After the experience of last year, we are now on the road to stability. Going from bankruptcy to stability is certainly not easy. How do we increase our revenue? At the same time, how do we reduce inflation? Those are really two difficult objectives to do at the same time. That we hope by end of this year, we will no longer be in deficit. As the economy goes, as GDP goes, for the first time, we will break even. So 2024 will be the year we will restart growth. Life is not going to be easy, but it means we are now on the road to recovery. But it is very clear that we can't go back to what we were, neither economically, neither socially, nor politically. Economically, I think we have lost every race. So we have to modernize and we have to change our thinking. First, it's like a battle. Only the fittest is going to survive. What is your economy? Like a good army, it has to be lean and it has to be mean. So it has to be very, very highly competitive. Now if you look around us, there are a large number of countries with large population and people whose education level may be lower than ours. So they are the countries that can cater to the low-wage employment. I don't think we can stay in the stage anymore. If we are not going in, if we are not competitive as low-wage employment, where are we going? So the best is to take a giant leap and to become competitive, to become advanced. Those who are now advanced in modern methods of management, in the modern methods of agriculture. Now what is left for us is to develop our manpower as a capital asset. What we want is more and more graduates coming out of this country who have all the top technology, all the knowledge that we need. So we are now talking of establishing a few more universities, civilian ones, on the KDU model. Don't again be thinking or arguing. You know what we have gone through. You know how to get out of it. It's like a battle. When you decide to stay here, remember you are taking a challenge which you can win. But it's finally up for you to decide.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa made comments in Parliament today, drawing attention to the problems faced by the general public of Sri Lanka.
මේ ආර්ථික සංකෝචනය තුළ ආදායම් අඩු වෙනකොට ආදායම් මාර්ග නැති වෙනවා.
With this economic recession, when the income levels go down, how can the people of this country survive? Please give me an answer. The water bills, electricity bills, gas prices have been increased, but they are issuing statistics saying inflation has gone down. But people are not feeling that. I would also like to point out that there is a huge collapse in this country. For the past 12 years, 3,765 elephants have died. Within this 9 months, 291 elephants have died. For just September, 20 elephants have died. This is a huge wildlife destruction. Wildlife Ministry have not paid dues and elevators have stopped within the 48 hours. 11 people have disappeared, which includes 5 minors. Now there is a new drug called zombie drugs. The UNDP reported that 6 out of 10 people are under drug risk. 12.3 million out of the 2.21 million population are at risk. In a situation like this, the government is pretending as if there is no problem. How can you get together as a cabinet and increase these gas prices? You are contracting the economy and putting the weight on the shoulders of the general public. So I ask, please be sensitive than this.
තමුන්ලාසලා ජනතාවගේ කරපිට හිස මත බරපතවනවා. මම ඉල්ලීමක් කරන ඔබතුමන්ලාගෙන් මේ මේට වැඩිය සංවේදී වෙන්න. රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ජනාධිපතිවරයා DW කියන ජර්මන් channel එකට ඉන්ටර්විව් එකක් දෙමින් යම්කිසි ඉඟියක් කරලා තිබෙනවා.
During an interview with the German channel DW, Ranil Wickremesinghe indicated that the Cardinal and the Bishops' Conference holds contradicting views. However, Bishop Reverend Harold Anthony said that the Cardinal and the Bishops' Conference have no contradicting views. Their only demand is that the recommendations of the Presidential Commission report to be implemented promptly. Why are they not implemented? We saw during the DW interview the President said there is no need for an international inquiry, but he himself said an international inquiry will be provided. How does it change when he becomes president? No one has faith in the parliamentary committee appointed to look into a report by some channel. We never asked for an international inquiry. Even we don't have trust. We also stood up for this country's sovereignty. In such a situation, I propose that the recommendations of the Presidential Commission report be implemented and another inquiry to be launched with an international involvement based on the matters highlighted during the Easter attack parliamentary debate.
අලුත් ඉන්ක්වයරි එකක් අවශ්‍යයි. ඒ ඉන්ක්වයරි එකට ජාත්‍යන්තර සම්බන්ධතාවයක් තිබිය යුතුමයි කියන එක අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා. දැන් ජාත්‍යන්තර පරීක්ෂණයකට යනවායි කියලා කියන්නේ අපි විවෘත කරනවා.
Going into an international investigation means we open our country and reveal matters to the international community, including the UNHRC. So we should act with caution. Convert the Presidential Commission report to evidence and expedite the process to implement them by getting more people to the Attorney General's department if necessary.
දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවට තව පිරිස් බඳවාගෙන හරි මේවා කඩිනම් කළා මේවා ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීම මම හිතන්නේ පළවෙනි ප්‍රධාන කටයුත්තකට අපි කළ යුතුයි කියන මතේ අපිත් ඉන්නවයි කියන එක මෙහිදී මම සඳහන් කරනවා.
Parliament today directed its attention towards the issue of the much talked about proposal to export monkeys.
China's Xiangwu Animal Breeding Corporation Limited requested a large number of monkeys to display at zoos in China through a proposal to the Agriculture Minister. Due to legal reasons, it did not happen. But looking into diplomatic agreements regarding a request letter, A letter was also sent to the embassy on the 20th of April 2023. However, there has been no response so far. The Chinese embassy in Sri Lanka also issued a notice saying they were not aware of it and have no such plans. When doing such a project, there should be diplomatic coordination to avoid controversy and legal action.
ඒ සමාගම රිලවුන් ලක්ෂයක් රට යවන්න ඒ කියන්නේ චීන රජයට රටට ගෙනියන්නත්
That company requested to take 100,000 monkeys to China. The proposal said there are thousands of private zoos in China and asked if 2,000 of the monkeys could be provided within a month. We held several discussions over this and asked them to make the request through the embassy as well. I made a written request to the Chinese embassy to look into the company and to provide a report. Various claims were spread saying they were being taken to be consumed for their meat and China was being insulted, with some political groups taking the lead. That is why China had to issue such an official statement. However, we made a written request and we didn't receive a response. Thereafter, the company made another request, and while we were working with them, environmental organizations went to court. We temporarily suspended it. The people are not opposed to sending the monkeys, but so-called environmental organizations have opposed it, leading to it being suspended. However, we will continue to direct attention to the matter. With the matter coming to light, several other countries also asked if we could provide animals for their zoos as well.
මොනාකාරයකින් හරි අපි මේ පිළිබඳව දිගටම අවධානය යොමු කරනවා. මීට අමතරව තවත් රටවල් කීපයක්ම මේ ප්‍රසිද්ධ වීමත් සමග අපිට කිව්වා ඒ රටවල් වලටත් සත්වෝද්‍යාන වලට ලබා දෙන්න පුළුවන්ද කියන එක විමසීම් කළා තියෙනවා. එතකොට දැන් පිටරට
If sending monkeys overseas has been suspended, what measures have been taken to prevent destruction to crops?
වෙන තත්වය නතර කරන්න ඔබතුමාලා මොන වගේ පියවරක්ද ගන්නේ මේ රිලවුන්ට අමතරව
There should be some control. We met the environmental organizations and asked for proposals to control it. If we can't send them overseas or kill them, they didn't provide proposals. One group said if 5 acres are being harvested, allocate half an acre for animals. We cannot do that because animals will only eat from that area. Another group said fences can be tied around trees and coconut trees can be used to cover polythene sheets so animals will not be able to climb. Another group asked us to hang saris. None of them were practical solutions. Research conducted by Hector Kobekadu Institute and some solutions were provided. We will implement those in the future.
Maharagama Sita, the female Tusker who was shot by a civil defence guard following a perahera, is undergoing treatment at the Mahayangane Rajamahavihara and has now been surgically operated on. The surgery was headed by Senior Professor of the Peradeniya Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, Professor Ashoka Dangolda.
Maharagama Sita, the female Tusker, suffered 7 gunshot injuries from a civil defence guard while she was chained at the temple premises after parading the streets as part of the Mahayangana Rajamahavihara Randoli Perahera on Saturday. The Tusker was shot by a civil defence officer attached to the Department of Wildlife. The Tusker, who was receiving treatment under the supervision of Professor Ashoka Dangolla, was previously examined using scans and X-rays. The scans revealed that there were 8 pieces of bullet fragments penetrated on the Tusker. Later, the injuries were examined using a metal detector and it was identified that there were metallic substances believed to be bullets inside her body. The surgery was conducted yesterday afternoon to positively identify the metal objects and to prepare a report for the court. The police said that the type of substance discovered in the Tusker's body will be forwarded to the government analyst and a report will be obtained.
News first with the people.
Divi Savya, the second leg of the Divi Savya program to provide much needed school books and stationery items to school children in Sri Lanka. 6th of October, Dimulakala.
Dai Daruwange Anagate Winuwin Divi Savya, LOLC Praja Satkaraka Mehevara.
At least 80 people are missing, including 22 Indian Army personnel in the northeastern state of Sikkim after cloudbursts triggered massive flash floods. 10 people have already been confirmed dead in Sikkim after a cloud burst triggered massive flash floods. The burst occurred in the upstream of a lake in the north of the state, which resulted in an alarming rise in water in the Tusker River in Lashan Valley. The situation worsened further after more water was released from a nearby dam into the river. 2 bridges which connect the northern region with the rest of the state have been washed away, severely affecting transport services. Rescue efforts are also underway in other parts of the state as entire neighborhoods have been flooded, damaging homes and displacing people. Local media reports that over 3,000 tourists are among those trapped in the area. That's a wrap of the lunchtime news. Join us again at 9 p.m. for primetime news on TV1.